Hi everyone, thank you for being here again. My name is Cristina Suyay and today we have a special friend here with us. He's Girishan, you can a little bit.
My name is Girishan. I am from India.
Yeah.
So we are friends here. We met in the Yoga Institute.
Yes. And we were discussing yesterday that we would love to share how we can apply this philosophy of yoga to our life, to our daily life, and also what was really we were really concerned was about what happened lately in USA about this racist episode. So we would like, just because Girishan, he really loves philosophy, he's been studying philosophy, all the kind of philosophy, not just the yoga one, also Vedanta, Samkhya, so he can give us this very interesting perspective about this situation. So he also lived in USA for how many years?
11 years.
For 11 years, and also I'm from Peru. And in Peru, there exists a lot of also discrimination, racism, and everything. So I think it's a good opportunity to just talk about it like friends, like humans, and if this philosophy can give us a better perspective to understand why we are still doing the same thing, no? So what do you think about all this situation, about all the things that is happening right now in USA or in different parts of the world? We still separate ourselves. We still think that because we identify ourselves with our color of our skin and everything. So
Yes.
yeah.
So to begin with understanding the problem, it's unfortunate the way we operate as human beings, right? And the underlying reason why there is so much of problems is because there is duality. There's always good, bad, there's always negative, positive, there's always up, down, night, day. So in yoga we call it the dvandva, the duality. And that coupled with a lot of other things which yoga sutras talk about. So the key to all our suffering is based on our klesha, right? So kleshas are your mental tendencies that stops us from going further, or you can call them afflictions. And the 5 kleshas that we have is, first is ignorance, avidya. We have the likes, we have dislikes, and we have abhinivesh, and then we have ego. So we can use this 5 kleshas to explain how we get into a situation like racism or sexism, right? So let's first talk with ego, because ego is the core. And anytime we talk about ourselves, we start with the I. And the I always comes with an identity. Although the basic function of identity is to know what is the self and what is non-self, but because of our ignorance, the avidya, we start taking identification that is not ours, right? And it can go from things like what is my like, what is my dislike. So if I like the fact of being, say, a soccer player, I identify myself as a soccer player. Or if I don't like something, then I don't identify. So this definitely creates a particular false identity or false ego. And once you have the false ego, you always have the fear of losing the identity, and you always fight the fear of change.
So this fear of change is also one of the kleshas.
Yes, it's also one of the kleshas. So you see how all the 5 kleshas are acting together to create a person with a particular identification, and you get attached to the identification towards the end of it. And this takes you further, because now if I'm a person and I feel identified with, say, a few things like I'm an Indian, I am a male, I am rich, I like playing golf, so I become this person. And when I see someone who is different from me, I'm not able to accept that person as myself, so I reject them.
So these were the separations,
yes,
that
yes.
This person is different than me, speaks another language, looks like different.
Yes.
So why? So everything starts from our ego, no?
Yes, it is.
It's like
that is the problem that we face, and we don't ask this question And sometimes we don't even have the right knowledge. You do not know what the other person is going through. You do not know what the other person is saying. We make fundamental judgments, assumptions. You see someone who does something and you say like the entire race is similar to them. And you start spreading this knowledge, the wrong knowledge, to everyone that can eventually create further racism. Even in US, if you talk to a white person and try to understand racism through their perspective, a lot of times it's ignorance. Not knowing what the other person is, not knowing what they eat, not knowing how they live their life, not knowing their priorities. Just because we don't understand them, we separate them and we try to label them as something different from us. And this is what is causing racism.
So being aware of all of this that you just mentioned, of these clashes and everything like this, can help us to say, hey, I am the same as the other person.
Yes.
And I don't need to feel superior to anyone or feel inferior of anything. So it's a construction, what we are just doing to survive?
Yes.
Or to...
It is, right? Like if you also look at animal kingdom, like where if you look at the apes, which is where we come from, you always had an alpha ape. And then you had like other apes which are trying to fight. So there is a fundamental suppression even in the animal kingdom. And when it comes to us where we have evolved our minds to the next level, where we can apply, sometimes we are still driven by the animal instincts of trying to be superior to someone, trying to show that we are better than someone. Although it might not be the case, but that has been how we are fundamentally linked in our nature.
Yeah.
And even when you want to be at work, you want to show that you're better than other people. Even in a relationship, you want to show you're better than the other person. Wherever you go, you try to show you're better all the time. And there's two ways of doing this again. Like one, you can actually elevate yourself to be better, or the second way you do is pushing other people down.
Yes.
And a lot of times what happens, pushing people down is easy than elevating yourself.
Yes.
And this again comes from our fundamental kleshas that we spoke about, right? Like how we see ourselves and how we can put ourselves up on the pedestal so that we feel better. There's always a lot of psychological things that goes on under our mind where we are not focusing on asking the basic questions. Why am I thinking differently? What is different with that person? Because underneath the skin, we are all the same. It's just the melanin that changes the skin color. Or even question the history, question the truth that we hear in forms of our textbooks and science and everything. Everything has given a perspective, but unless we don't question it, we cannot change what is going on. And also, even if you don't question, even if you just objectively treat the other person with absolute respect, absolute love, everything would change. And yoga talks about this too, right? Fundamentally, we are all similar. We are made up of nature and we are made up of consciousness. Every single individual is made of these two things. Even if we just understand this and live our life by this basic understanding, that will change a lot for a lot of people.
How was your experience in the USA? Have you ever struggled with something like this? And how did you apply this philosophy of yoga so you could face this better or something?
I've had situations where I have been discriminated. I want to talk about this experience which I had in an airport. And this was before I got involved with yoga. But I could also tell you how I could have acted differently. But I can also share another experience I had in India, which I will come to.
Even in India, you
yes.
also, like me in Peru,
right.
you also had this experience.
Yes. Yes. So I'll tell you the first experience, and then I'll tell you the second experience, and I'll tell you the difference and how I handled it. The first experience was I was traveling in South America, and I came to Boston. I had to take a flight to New York, and I was a premium member, so I was standing in the line. My clothes were dirty because I didn't take a shower for 2 days. My jeans was ripped, my jeans was dirty, and I was standing in the premium line. And this gentleman, the security person, came to me and asked if I was in first class. And I said no. And he said, "Sir, you're not supposed to be here." I said no, I can be here. I understand. And he's like, "No sir, you're not first class." I said no, but this is a premium line, I can be here. And then he went and he came back and said, "Sir, can I look at your premium, like whatever the card is. And I said like, no, I don't have to show it. And I realized if I was a person of different color, and he was constantly trying to judge me for my skin color and thinking that I'm not understanding what I'm doing, and that went on for a while, and it was causing a lot of agitation in me because I know that this was racism. I know that I've been treated differently, and if I were of different skin color, I would have been treated very differently. When I went to the counter and gave my boarding pass to change, the lady said, he's like premium, and he left until the point he was next to me. That was uncalled for. That was like a clear sign of racism. And I had a lot of anger. I did not know what to do about it. And that passed by, but the incident always stayed in my mind of how people get treated differently because of their skin color. And the incident I had in India was very different, right? Like there it was a white person trying to discriminate me for my skin color being different, but in India, the racism happens at a very different level. So here, Indians discriminate their own people with respect to the white people. So I was in a coffee shop, I went there and I requested for internet to use, and the waiter told me that the internet is not working. I said okay, and I sat down. And 30 minutes passed by, I was connected to my phone, I was working. 30 minutes passed by, old white lady walked in. She was probably in her like late 60s. So she walked in. As soon as she walked in, the waiter came and he was like, please sit ma'am, whatever you want. He made her feel at home, it was fine. And then she asked for internet, and he immediately took the phone and typed the password and gave it to her. And I was watching all this thing, and I was thinking, what is going on? So I called the waiter and said like, what happened? I thought the internet was not working. And the waiter told me, sir, sorry, just come back. He went inside and he came back with his manager. And I asked the manager, like, what happened? I thought the internet was not working. He's like, no, the internet was working, but we would charge you money for the internet. And I was first confused and also was shocked. And I was like, but why didn't you tell this before? And he didn't have an answer. He just said like, sir, it's like so much money per hour, you can use the internet. I said, that's fine. And I sat there, but I also felt unsettling inside because the other person was a white person, there was no charge, the internet was given to make sure that the person feels good. But for me, I felt like discriminated, and I was not okay with it. So I called the manager's supervisor so that I could talk to him, and he did not show up for 45 minutes. And I was just thinking, if I were a white person again, and if I had a problem, things would have been very different, and they did not care. And when he came down, I explained the situation to him, and I told, this is not how you treat your customers. Forget about customers, it's inhuman to treat someone differently because of your skin color. And I offered, if you want, I will spend half a day with your employees talking about racism and explain them how to deal with such situations. And the manager didn't have an answer. He said he will look into it, but I don't think anything changed. And I was willing to offer my help this time. I was willing to sit and talk. But again, you can make change only when it's welcome. Otherwise, it is not going to be easy to change the system. And I see that there was no willingness there to listen or change.
Yeah, and also what happened to you in this coffee shop in India. And for example, there are a lot of people who suffer from this, and they start saying, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not accepting my color of the skin, I'm not accepting my background, or whatever it is. So what would you say to these people to embrace themselves? Because sometimes when you are discriminated, like there are every people that they are suffering discrimination for every day. For example, in my case, I'm from Peru, and in Peru we also see many cases of racism. White people, because you are from the Andes or you are from the jungle and you are not white, or your eyes are like this, or anything, your also color of the skin of your surname is different, and you don't come from a rich country, school, or even if you don't speak perfect English, so many things, you know. So for example, I suffered that 2 times, you know, and they were also saying to me that the name is Chola or Cholo. So actually these words can be very beautiful in other contexts, but they use these words also for reducing people.
Sure.
And somehow I felt in that time I was not into yoga or anything. I was feeling who I am. I mean, I don't identify myself like a white people, like black or anything. Who I am, you know. So I struggle a lot to figure out that, and I really felt very down. And now I realize that yoga helped me a lot to accept myself, to see the things with objectivity, you know, and also to see that people that they are doing that every day is because these people suffer a lot and they are very ignorant and they need something to feel themselves better, to reducing other people. So what would you say about this?
Sure. See, the way that I look at racism is they use racism to belittle you, right? Like they are using racism as a tool to show themselves as superior so that you feel bad.
Yes.
And the day you feel bad, you have given up the war. You have given up the fight because that's what they want. And if you start questioning your worth, you will destroy yourself. You will not be at your best. You're not going to be efficient. You're not going to be loving. You're not going to be giving. And that's what they want. Maybe they don't want it consciously, but subconsciously, this is what racism drives. And the minute you become that, they will point the finger and say, this is what I was talking about. See, this person is not worth it. End of the day, we have to remind ourselves that this is a fight. And if they say something, smile back at them. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. It will be hard. Fight back at them. Sit with them, talk to them.
Yeah.
Do not let it reduce who you are. Because if you reduce yourself, you've lost the game. You've lost the war. And they win.
And there are beautiful people, amazing people that really is like what happened to me or to you maybe happen a few times, but there are people who are struggling with this every single day in their lives. So I really like, oh my God, you know, it's like so crazy that we still live in a world like this, but nothing is like permanent. And
yes.
I say we all can learn. We all can educate ourselves and question ourselves. And as you say, something very important, apply the philosophy here.
Yes.
In these moments.
Right. So that is what I was trying to explain in terms of you know who you are, you know what you're made of. Skin color, you as much know that it's not big difference between a white person or a brown or a black or from some other race. If someone comes and does any kind of racism against you, do not give in to it. That's the first step, because you need to understand that the other person is ignorant, right? Like if they were not ignorant, you wouldn't be in the situation. And you also know that whatever emotions you feel, in terms of even a slight emotion of questioning your self-worth, you can always know that until that moment your self-worth was not questioned. And maybe after some time, when you go back to where it is, that moment of where you feel sad, the moment of where you feel broken, try to remind yourself that this is not the time to give up. Be with yourself, be loving, be gentle with you, have that objectivity that this will also change. And if the person is willing, the opposite person is willing to hear, have a conversation. And that is the only thing we can do. But if we get entangled in our emotions will take us down. And an emotion that takes you down once is fine. The second time, it is going to be more. But the third time, you will be in a loop. And every time you see racism that is shown towards you, you will invariably go into depression, which is not what we want. We all need to make sure that we are strong. And the strong comes from understanding the fundamentals of racism and understanding how we can overcome. Not be a victim, but just make sure that we come out of being a victim and also help the opposite person where we can, if they're willing to listen. Again, if the other person is not willing to listen, there is nothing we can do, and all we can do at that point is let go.
If this person wants to stay with their anger, with their complex and everything, it's not our responsibility anymore. And I think what Girishan says is so important. Our voice is so powerful. If somebody reduce you or anything, express yourself. Say that this person is not fair. There are always entities that are protecting us remember, every human is equal. No matter what publicity sometimes is showing, no matter what other people say, it's really the time to change. It's the time to express ourselves. Every human is worth living and everything. So whatever you believe in yoga, whatever religion you are, all religions, they are having something in common.
Right.
And sometimes we don't apply what we are believing in. It's like loving the other person, loving yourself. So let's remember that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.